Welcome back, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for taking the time to spend a little time with me. I always appreciate that. And before we dive into this video, what I'm going to do is allow you guys to watch this NHL 19 trailer in regards to RPM, because this is definitely where I want to go in terms of this video. You know, you may have read the title. I said that I feel that RPM might just be one of the biggest innovations I've seen from EA Sports. And I will explain that a little further. But before we do that, sit tight. Watch the trailer really quick, then I'll come back and I'll go into detail. All right, be right back.
To have some sort of impact on the way the game plays, on the skating, it's definitely special.
RPM Tech opens up a ton of doors for us when it comes to new skating in our game. We didn't have to look any further than McDavid when it comes to sort of real-world NHL players that can inspire us.
When I get a couple of crossovers going, I think that's when I feel like I'm really moving.
When our players were asking for something as big as the skating system to be overhauled and to have something new, really quick blends, matching exactly what the player is asking for from the input, and really that's how McDavid skates in real life. It feels like a video game.
I mean, that's what skating is. It's being on your edges. It's, you know, using your inside edge to push off. It's turning on a dime on your outside edge. It's stopping and starting, and being agile on your edges makes you pretty elusive and hard to check. That's really what the game's all about now.
All right, guys, so now that you've had an opportunity to view the trailer, let me go into a little bit of detail. Now, you've heard me cover this a couple times now, you know, especially since Madden has introduced the fact that real player motion, or RPM, will be in their game. We've talked about this a little bit. I've done videos on it. I've mentioned it a little on the Sim Standard podcast, etc., etc. But this is why I want to continue to talk about this, because number one, you want to document these things so we can go back later and look and say, hey, did things get better or did things get worse? But number two, it's just something that I'm feeling. By looking at how this thing is being implemented, it makes me feel like this could be one of the biggest innovations. And here's the reason why. We all know the whole, mentioning of sharing technology. We were first told that years ago. We never really saw that come into fruition, and I'm speaking to, the community that I primarily dwell in, which is Madden and, NBA Live, NBA 2K, etc., even though NBA 2K is not an EA product. But particularly, we're really basically talking about, Madden. We've always said, how come Madden can't take from this game or take from that game, which is under the EA Sports umbrella, right? And we were told that Ignite would be able to do that. We all know the story with that. Obviously, Ignite wasn't the engine that was capable to really pull it off, because we didn't really see a whole lot of tech borrowing. And then we heard about Frostbite, right? In which we all know that Frostbite makes it easier or a better base platform for everyone to work on. But then technology sharing still would come from actual tech that is built, right? So right now with RPM, we are seeing in real time that, okay, now technology is being shared and being shared rapidly. Let me explain my point. When Frostbite came to Madden, right? not NHL, I'm sorry, but FIFA already had it. FIFA got it first as far as sports titles, then Madden got it the next year. We know it came from DICE and, Backbreaker, that's their bread and butter, right? We have not seen it come to NBA Live. If I'm not mistaken, it is not on NHL, and it is not on UFC. Why does RPM stand out in my opinion? This is the first time that I can remember, and I could be wrong here, but just my recent memory. This is the first time that I've seen a feature or innovation, whatever you want to call it, being spread throughout all of their games basically at the same time. Now we know that UFC already had the real player motion, UFC 3, they came in with it. FIFA had it. I believe FIFA's on their second year, what have you. And now in the same year, Madden, NHL, and NBA Live are all getting this technology. That's huge. If you're paying attention to how development works, that is huge. That tells me a lot. That tells me that, okay, they are finally at a point where there's certain technologies that they can easily share. Obviously, if they're able to put all of this, all of these games are getting RPM in the same year, that means something. Number two, we can't forget what Clint Oldenburg has already stated, in an article. he said that the thing about RPM is they have not even tapped into its full potential. He said he's more interested in seeing what else they will be able to do with RPM. He also stated that RPM doesn't just control local motion. It incorporates a lot of other things like player likeness and player mannerisms, etc., etc. Y'all heard me say this before. In Madden 19, they're introducing somewhat player styles, but it's really just pre-snap, you know, with the quarterbacks. And they've already stated that we're looking to expand that. Now, when you look at FIFA and you look at NHL, listening to this trailer, it sounds like that is where the player likeness is going to come from. You know, if you read the Real Player Motion article that EA posted a while back, they said that's why they're able to capture the likeness of Cristiano Ronaldo. And now, you know, you hear this guy, and I'm forgetting his name right now here, McDavid, I think his name was, here in NHL, you know, using him as inspiration to incorporate that in an NHL. That sounds like to me that what a lot of you guys have asked for, even myself, with player likeness and player animations and etc., signature styles for Madden, this is the ticket to do that. RPM will be that technology that will get it done. I feel like that Madden will be able to do it now, because the proof to me is looking at the product, how it's working in other games and things that other games are using it for. There you have it. Now, how well will they implement these things going forward, or when they will do it, that I don't know. But that's why I'm going to continue to push this, because now here's a piece of technology that they all are sharing. So now the parallel is so much easier for me with my feedback, where I could take FIFA and say, hey, yo, Clint and the rest of the crew, hey, we need that in Madden. And it shouldn't be like a turnaround time of 2-3 years when we're talking about real player motion and RPM tech. It should be something that should be easily done. I hate using the word easy because I'm not an engineer, but it should be more capable now that the technology is shared. So that's why I feel like RPM, in my opinion, could be, or may just be, one of the biggest innovations that I've seen from EA Sports. This is huge in my opinion. And like I said, you know, nobody ever knows what type of things are going to unfold from cycle to cycle when you're dealing with Madden. But I feel like now games like NHL and FIFA and NBA Live having the same technology component that Madden had, I feel like it eliminates the excuses in terms of RPM tech. Now I'm looking at it like, hey, I don't want to hear that this can't be done when y'all are all sharing that piece of technology. Anything pertaining to RPM should be transferable. You understand what I'm saying? Because that was the whole introduction of, you know, again, I don't forget these things. When Patrick Sutherland said a couple years ago why they would be going to Frostbite, you know, having everything run on the same code, etc., etc., all of these technologies and having different, you know, individual areas that specifically work on those things so they can easily be spread throughout the other genres. We're finally starting to see that. Now, of course, with Madden, we'll have to see, you know, how far down the rabbit hole it goes in this first year. You know, a lot of us who've played the beta and all that, we've been able to see the, you know, the goodness of RPM, and we've also been able to see, okay, this is an area that might need to be touched up. And it is a first year implementation, I get that. But again, this is the first time that I feel like I could really look outside of Madden and say, okay, NHL is doing that with RPM, FIFA's doing that with RPM, oh, NBA Live is doing that with RPM, which is in the same building. Now I can directly take from these games and say, okay, we need to see that in Madden. So there you have it, guys. That's my reason as to why I feel like RPM is the biggest innovation that we've seen in a very long time from EA Sports. So those are my thoughts. I would love to hear what you guys have to say. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. click on the notifications so you're fully aware of the next video, and I promise guys, it will never hurt you to hit that like button. Alright, that's gonna do it for now, but until next time, let me know what you think. Peace.